and the base of agriculture is animal livestock. Most of the farmers in Africa, the system of production is based on natural resources. Here, for example, in America, we have most technology, and the American farmer doesn't depend on the weather. In Africa especially, a lot of the farmers to make this system depend on the weather. Livestock in Africa is vital for maintaining economic development and provide essential food products to the poor. Sustain the employment and income of millions of people in rural areas. In rural areas, cattle is a source of food and cash. For example, when some farmers don't have the money to take the children to school, they can sell live cattle and get money. They don't have a cash in bank, but they have a cash with animals. The cash stay in the farm. The sale of livestock products often the source cash income only in rural areas. And this system of production is a substance for many African. The population of cattle in Africa the distribution is not uniform because we have a problem of tsetse fly. This fly is conditioned to presence of the animals in areas. For example, lot of the animals in Africa are in East Africa because East Africa is free from tsetse fly. Tsetse fly is a name of insect. These insects feed the blood of the animals and cause the disease we call trypanosomiasis. The cattle is an important source of milk, meat, and animal calcium, especially in south of Mozambique. And sometimes when you have much cow, it means that you have more prestige, more money, because the cattle has an important social, cultural, and many societies of Africa. And this picture, I try to show how the farmers use the animals. Sometimes they use the animals to transport. In this picture, for example, the animals transport people from one place to another place. For example, to local market, we can use the animals. In this one, they use the animals to help to prepare the land for crop production. We have two basic systems of production. We have a traditional production and non-production. Non-traditional system is the same for modern system. But I will talk particular for this system because it's the most predominant. What is happening in Africa, most of the people live in rural areas. About 75% of people live in rural areas, and for subsistence they use traditional system. This system includes two systems: pastoral system and agro system. And we have another system, mixed system in semi-arid, semi-humid, and humid. This classification is based on agroecological zones and on weather. For example, in pastoral system, we have only animals in the pasture, natural pasture. Agricultural pasture, we have a mixed agriculture and some crops and animals. And mixed system, we have sometimes mixed, it depends of the zones. We have highland, for example, mixed, we have crop integrated with animals. That's why we call it mixed system. We can find, for example, cattle, sheep, goat with legumes, cereals, cropping. In this picture, I showed the pastoral system in dry season of the year. In dry season of the year, the animals sometimes don't have a food because the weather is very hot. And sometimes when the weather is extremely hot, the animals die because they don't have food to eat. Sorry. In this one, I try to show again the performance of the animals in pastoral systems. Sometimes we have a different degrees, but even the animals adapt when the weather is extremely, the productive goes down because the animals don't have food and sometimes they cannot have water to drink. In particular case of Mozambique, we have few cultivated pastures and 440 kilometers of potential natural pasture. 50% is total area of the pasture. It's natural pasture. 40% of this area is affected by tsetse fly. For example, in north and central Mozambique, we have a good soils, but the problem, we don't have a lot of animals because we have tsetse fly. In south of Mozambique, the soils are poor, but we don't have a presence of tsetse fly. This picture, I try to show the same place is the same region, but different season of the year. In dry season, the pastures are rich in quantitative and qualitative. In dry season, the pastures are poor. For example, look this picture, the last picture. We saw the bones of the animal. The animal died because they don't have nothing for it. It's the same region, but the different season of year.
On the top two photos, the same view?
Yeah.
Same place?
Yeah. Here is another picture to show dry season of the year. Here is the dry season of the year. The animals has to walk long distance to look for food to eat. And this system is poor without seeing difference between pastoral and mixed system. In general, this system is poor and it is characterized by overall performance with high rates of mortality in cows, about 22%, and low reproductive rates, about 6%. And milk per lactation is removed about 250 kilos.
Can you go back? Sorry.
Yeah, I can go. This picture, I try to show the performance of the animals. They lose performance in dry seasons of here because the passes are poor, quantitative and nutrient. If you see guys, here the animals feeds, most of time feeds the lawns of the trees. Perhaps the exception of the poultry, most of system in Africa, they keep in traditional system. Pastoral systems are often located in arid and semi-arid areas that are unsuitable for food production. Almost 95% of the beef in tropical Africa is produced by traditional system. Non-traditional systems include the ranches, a system for small business on pre-urban and intensive livestock production in irrigated system are large in north of Africa. Because in north of Africa they invest on irrigation because this region is free from tsetse fly. That's why they have investment on this production. This picture I try to show it's Brahma in system modern production. It's the same what happened here in modern production. It's not it's not frequent, but we have some small scale of modern production in Africa. Here it's a jersey in system. It's a program. It's a grant. I applied to international fund, and then they give us the money to establish a small project to production and processing milk. This product is ongoing in High Institute of Polytech of Manica in Mozambique. Here, it's a small unit to collect milk. We use manual collect. It's not automatic. It's not automatic. We have some constraints to production in Africa. Input, some of this, it's a capital and capitalization, it's low. Feed supplies animal low cost. We are looking for the alternative to supply animal in low cost because a lot of the farmers, they don't have access to the credit. And the government don't give the farmers credit to invest on this product. Other problem is the genetic factors. We have low genetics. The animals are resist on the extremity of the weather, but the productive, the genetics is poor. Other problem is land and labor. In dry season of the year, we have the animals and human compare for the same land to use. And other problem is trapezoid. And subhuman and humid zone, we have problem of trapezoid. When we have good soils to production faster, we have problem with trapezoid. The challenge is reduce the poverty that affect 45% of the people, increase food production and ensure security, enhance the productivity of the land, control or eradicate incidence of trapezoid, because the animals when they have this disease, they lost the productive. In some cases, we lose the animals. improve the genetic potential of livestock, and minimize the effects of southern poison. The problem is to maximize the production of poison because in the dry season of the year, the animals don't have nothing to eat. And cattle is the most source important in Africa because the farmers use the cattle's food with source of meat, milk, and animal traction. Thank you.
Thank you in 3 other languages.
Thank you. In Portuguese we say obrigado. In my dialect we say canimambo. In Spanish, gracias.
Questions for Luisa?
So with the trypanosoma, the problem is it with the tsetse fly or trying to deal with the parasite itself?
The problem is the tsetse fly is a vector.
Right.
Yeah, and if they eliminate the vector, we can eliminate the trypanos because the weight of the to transmit is when the tsetse fly touching a blood from the animals. They deposit the disease, and then this disease multiply inside of the cells. That's why if we have control for the tsetse fly, we can eradicate the trypanos.
Just so you know, that disease is zoonotic. So when people get that, they don't even know what the name is. Sleeping sickness.
Yeah.
So I also, some of you know, I lived in Africa for a year, and we had to have all of our clothing ironed, pressed with a hot steam iron before you put it on, because if the fly was in there and it bit you, you got a big boil, and then you went to sleep. And we didn't have any hospitals where I lived. I think close enough, about 40 miles away. So you died. So you had to prevent that. But the cows too, as Luisa mentioned, some get real sick and the production is low, and others just die.
So the next question is irrigation, trying to irrigate the land, and where do you get water from?
Here I'm making focus from the rural communities and small scale. We have some private, they do irrigation, but the problem is most of farmers, they don't have credit, and they don't have access of education. They use they depend on just on the weather.
Any other questions for Luisa?
What part of Africa is it?
South Africa.
You should get that man. Most of you know where South Africa is. If you look, what's the name of the TV cartoon that you guys watch, Madagascar? Ever seen Madagascar right there on the right?
Yeah.
Go that direction, and the first country going west.
It's Mozambique.
Mozambique. So, if I can point out,
Yeah.
this is Mozambique, and here's South Africa. What part of Mozambique did you live
I live here in south of Mozambique. East of Africa, field of tsetse fly is here. Politics classification Mozambique is on south, but geographic classification Mozambique is East Africa. Yes.
in? And someone would ask about digging wells. Digging wells is very expensive,
Yeah.
and that's why they don't dig wells. So that they totally rely on the rain. Some years there's lots of rain, too much at one time. Other years, no rain.
Yeah.
And you guys are fortunate, you're spoiled. It's okay to be spoiled. But put it this way, let's say you have a backyard with an acre of land, and you have no faucet to turn on. You only can rely on the rainwater. how long would you guys live? No, there's no bonds, there's no routes, there's no markets. You're growing, producing everything you have. That's what it's like in Africa. So you have cattle have plow the fields. When you need money for your kids to go to school or shoes on their feet, you sell one of your cows because you don't have any money in the bank. When you're hungry, you butcher one of your cows. But eventually you wind up with no cows if you don't replace them. And that's the key. And so Luisa has come here to learn a little bit about how our system can adapt to their system. One of the classes she's been sitting in is soils, to maximize the quality of our soil that we grow our pastures. So how do we do that? So Mr. Staff, who teaches our soils class, he knows Africa pretty well. He's traveled around. And he said, well, you can't afford to put in NPK like we do here, so what can we do? We can take plants that you have there and create a mulch to improve the soil fertility. That's what we've been working on, right? How to test that. And so there's one. Luisa just completed our artificial insemination class. I won't embarrass her, but I have a picture of her with her arm in the rear end of the cow. So she can go back now and she can import the genetics she was talking about. She can get frozen bull semen from anywhere in the world for $25 and improve the genetics in her. So that's one way. Now, what about the parasites? That's more challenging because they're small. So bigger things are easy. You see them. An elephant comes by, you have to move out of the way. So, cystofly, they're small. And the things that they carry within them are even smaller, microscopic. So how do you get rid of those things? So how many of you have not taken microbiology? You need to. Because most of the things in ruminant nutrition, remember that nutritionist is feeding the microbes. And in pathology, you find out that viruses, bacteria, molds, fungi can cause harm to the animals we care about. So we have to learn how to manipulate the environment to limit that. We're always learning on that, right?
Yeah.
Any last questions for Luisa? Oh, there's one up there.
How come East Africa is free of CC flies?
Sorry?
She wants to know why there's less than East Africa.
Why? Yeah.
Or North Africa. Probably the humidity. Well,
Yeah.
in North Africa, it's really dry and hot. It's not as humid. So where there's moisture, where there's humidity, you're going to have more of that fly. I lived in Nigeria. I lived right there, and it was rampant everywhere because it was a good part of the year with 100% humidity, which means there could be no clouds. And you look up and people say, you better get inside, it's going to rain. They go, what's that guy now? All of a sudden it'd be pouring. From where? Just like, and so wet. And then an hour later it'd be so dry and hot that you wouldn't know that it rained. Cystofly, I love that.
For example, in my country, in the big city, we don't have the tsetse fly. And some places we have, and some places we don't have. They need a special condition to survive. Humid trees. When you have most of the flies, when you kill some trees, they don't survive.
In northern Nigeria, right up here, the cows look just like they do here in America. Muscle, heavy. And when they bring them down into the lowlands, in the delta, in about a month, they look emaciated. Any last questions? Thank you very much.